Now, here's another thing. Mitt Romney has long been talking about how he is going to cut tax rates by 20%. That, of course, would cost trillions of dollars. It would mean a big tax cut for the rich, but he's maintained he's not going to raise taxes on the middle class. Well, it turns out that that's not the case. The Tax Policy Center, which is kind of considered the gold standard in nonpartisan tax analysis, looked at the tax cut and the promises and says it's just not mathematically possible. Romney doesn't want to touch tax breaks for savings and investment, like, for example, the 15% capital gains rate. He reiterated that on 60 Minutes, as you just saw. There isn't enough money in the remaining tax breaks for people making over $250,000 to pay for their tax cuts. In other words, it just doesn't add up, Louis.
Right.
So we've looked into this more. A bunch of different economists have looked into this. A Harvard study was done by Martin Feldstein, and it determines what? It says, it is very reasonable to say that people in that high income group, by which he means people making over $100,000, are not in the middle class. Under reality, under realistic assumptions, the math can kind of work. What Romney is proposing might work if you have a big tax increase for people making between $100,000 a year and $250,000 a year in order to pay for that tax cut for those making over $250K. Now, Mitt Romney did say up to $250,000 a year is middle income, didn't he?
Right.
So essentially, in order to make these numbers work, you have to tax people that Mitt Romney says are middle income. Now, I don't know that someone making $235,000 a year is really middle income. The numbers certainly don't support that claim. But if you buy into Romney's claim, he's going to have to raise taxes on those people.
Right. But does he, does he plan to do that? Does he really put them in the same category?
As who?
As middle income.
He claimed to with George Stephanopoulos.
But is that what his tax plan, his tax policy is going to reflect?
It's one of these questions, Natan, where we have to say, is Mitt Romney stupid or is he a liar? Because there's really not other possibilities.
Yeah, there's like a few issues. One is just the fact that this whole economic argument, the general lowering taxes for everybody stimulates economic growth, has been totally discredited.
Completely.
But then separately from that, it's the hypocrisy of flip-flopping, of just saying that you're going to do something and it's clear the math isn't going to add up.
It's twofold nonsense.
I'm not going to assume that someone who gets as far as he is stupid. It's only safe to assume that he's not really telling the truth.
It's more likely that if you're a successful politician, you're a liar rather than being stupid.
And at the same time, I look back at President Bush, who I don't think is a very smart guy, and he became president. So I don't know.